Self-awareness. It's an interesting topic, and I think I've tried to research it and try to find things that I was thinking about when it comes to self-awareness. But then I had an inspiration many years ago when I really started doing personal development. So I knew I was sure I was going to touch nations and I was going to give all this information to people and they were really going to be transformed. So I went for it with all my heart. And this instruction that I put on my tagline on everything, on my page and on my website. This is what I knew I was going to do. That I was to enlighten the path to self-accountability. I was going to help people challenge the norm so that we can build a new culture. A culture that is unique to ourselves. A culture that will leave a legacy for our children. A culture that was nothing like what we have right now. But the big problem was, I didn't know how. And that took me a while to get into the place of knowing how. I know I'd done a lot of personal development on myself. And I knew what I was good at. I knew what people came to me for, and I knew how I helped people, but I didn't know how I was going to bring out this thing, this intuition that I had received to the tagline. I said, okay, so this is enlightening the path to self-accountability. What does that really mean? So when I started digging up, that's when I came up with, okay, looking in my own journey, that the biggest part of my journey was becoming self-aware. Because if I had not become self-aware, there was no way I would have transformed my life the way I did. So I wanted to find out, how did I become self-aware? Because most of it, I think you understand if you're in a personal journey of transformation, that you're doing these things because you're running away from pain. And I was doing this transformation because I was running away from pain. I'd just been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. And coming out of the doctor's office with a whole lot of papers giving me information about the condition, and another whole lot of papers giving me options about the drugs I could take that would help me, but they weren't going to cure the problem. They were just going to make me feel comfortable in the problem, but then they were going to give me a lot more other side effects. That meant I have got this autoimmune condition, and then I've got these drugs that I had to take, and then I had to contend with side effects, and I wasn't prepared for that. So I was like, okay, I have one problem, I can handle that, and I'm not going to create anymore. So if it's not cured, let's see how it goes. But for me, I was raised in an environment where people pray their problems away. So I decided, I was going to pray this problem away. And I dragged my family everywhere. All conferences. Everything. Anyone coming from America, from whichever country they were coming from, we were at the conference. Because I was looking for healing. And I thought doing all these things was going to save me, to help me, to get me better. Unfortunately, it didn't. So it became really dark in my reality. And one day I was in that dark place. I think I just reached my rock bottom. And I just remembered one thing that my mom taught me. She said, when you get to a very dark place and you can't see where you are coming from or where you are going or what you need to do, you need to kneel down and pray and ask for God to shine His light in your darkness. So that day I did. And when I did that, it became apparent to me that the reality I was in, the people I was hanging around, were not going to help me solve this problem. I needed to be open to something else, something different. but I didn't know what. Because everything around me I was familiar with. I'm a nurse, so I knew what was coming from the mainstream medical field. And I was a churchgoer, a spiritual lady, so I knew what was coming from the church. And I'd done it all. And it didn't got me to where I wanted to be. So I didn't know what else I was opening myself to. So then one day I opened my emails and there was this email from him. I don't even know how that got there or how they got my email address. So I got a bit intrigued and interested, and I looked into it, and then I attended the online seminar, and then I realized, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for. So I embarked on the journey of transformation. I didn't know that was what I was doing. So in those moments, that's when I was learning this process, that's when I learned that our emotions, our thoughts, are the ones that we create our own reality with. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I had been creating my own reality. I had been creating the difficulties that I was living in, the challenges that I was working on. And that was a very difficult pill to swallow. I don't know if any of you have been there. Anyone has challenged you about things you are doing and you're saying, no way, it's somebody else, it cannot be me. And because my belief had said, you put every blame to the devil, of course my illness was coming from the devil. And of course someone else was responsible for all my misfortunes. It was nothing to do with me. So I had to learn to change my belief system. And I also had to learn to change the way I perceived my reality, the way I perceived people in my life, the way I perceived how I was living my life. Because I understood now that I was creating my reality. So that's where the path of self-awareness began. Because that enlightening the path to self-accountability, you cannot be accountable for something that you are not conscious you are doing. So if we want accountability, we have to be conscious about how we are creating our own realities. And it's a bit difficult if you haven't done a little bit of the personal development work. But if you have, you'll find it like, ooh, the light bulb will go on. And then the next thing, another one goes on. And up to now, I'm still working on myself. So self-awareness comes and plays that role of reminding me and you my thoughts. Because when I remembered that vision, the first thought that came to me was, oh, that's impossible. I can't do that now. I'm too old. You know, I would have done that if I was young, but not anymore. So immediately I could catch myself and say, okay, listen, woman, that vision didn't come back because it's impossible. It came back because it's possible. If it was impossible to have stayed in the oblivion, you would never have remembered it because it wasn't to be. But the fact that it's coming back now, it's making you remember that all those things that you wanted to do, they're still possible. So there are moments when you do a negative self-talk. And if you are not self-aware, you can bring yourself down. You can go back to a place where you had been hurt, where you had been, something happened to you, somebody did something to you, a memory that hurt you so bad that every day and every morning you are living that memory. Before you go to bed, at least you think about it. Before you wake up in the morning, you think about it. Sometime during the day, you think about it. If you're not self-aware, this becomes a pattern, a repeated record that is playing in the background. And then you start to have these behaviors and you have these habits that you do because you're trying to run away from this thought that is playing in the background. And you don't know why you do some of the things. Self-awareness comes in. And you have to question yourself, why am I talking myself down? Where is this coming from? How did I create this? That's the power of self-awareness. Because the minute you know the source of how you created this, why you are talking negatively to yourself, why you are feeling hurt today when no one here has hurt you, why what somebody said over there has suddenly become personal to you, why are you feeling triggered because something has happened over there, or somebody over there said, or you heard what someone else said, and you are so triggered, you are angry, you are frustrated, you want to do something, you want to, and then you stop yourself and thinking, okay, why am I reacting and not responding to the situation? Because hurt causes us to react. But self-awareness causes us to become master of our own emotions. Because once you can master your own emotions, you move into the self-mastery, which means that nothing happening outside of you can change you or cause you to become an angry person, a resentful person, a bitter person, or whatever other person that we become when we are triggered. So when you master yourself, you realize that the story that I'm hearing now is nothing to do with what's happening around me, but it is everything to do with a memory that I'm carrying, an experience that I've had in the past, something that happened to me that I have been carrying along and just adding more spices to it and creating a bigger feeling, emotion that hurts than it was right at the beginning. So what does it really mean when we come into this self-awareness journey? The biggest thing I said, we want to be to self-master, move into the self-mastery journey, when we can master our thoughts and our emotions, how we react and how we respond. The second thing is we want to bring our minds and our bodies into harmony. Because a lot of the diseases, I told you my story about the autoimmune condition. A lot of the diseases that we have are because we are in disharmony. Our minds and our emotions and our bodies are not in alignment. We are totally out of alignment. So because we are totally out of alignment, we are creating disharmony that creates dis-ease. So if we have got a dis-ease that's coming from because we are in disharmony, the cure to that is bringing ourselves into harmony, and then we have cured the disharmony, and then the dis-ease will go away. So most of the diseases that we have are from the source of the emotions and the feelings and the energies that we are carrying. The one powerful thing that I learned about adjusting that through my illness was I was a master of suppressing my emotions. So I suppressed so many emotions. Some of them being hurt through family experiences, some of them my own made up emotions that hurt me, some of them because of the work and being misunderstood. So I suppressed all this. So when that journey of working through my emotions, I was working on them one by one and I was clearing them, the symptoms of the autoimmune condition started to disappear. So through becoming self-awareness, my behavior, why am I behaving like this? Why am I suppressing my emotions? Right now I'm angry, but why am I not showing that I'm angry? Right now I'm sad, you've stepped on my toe, why am I not showing that I'm sad? Why am I not telling that? Can I express myself? Can I speak my truth? Because now I'm self-aware that I don't want to suppress my emotions. So I want to speak my truth. So when I speak my truth, the thing that comes with that is freedom. I'm not going to bed worrying, I should have said this. Or maybe I should have done this. That doesn't affect me anymore because I've spoken my truth. So when we come to a place of you've mastered your emotions, they don't have you, but you are using them to create a reality that is better for you. You are becoming a better person than what you had been in your past. That's the power of using the emotions in a way where you are aware. The other benefit of self-awareness is developing a great relationship with the self. I think if you think about this, we are our own worst enemies. You don't need anybody to gossip about you to get you thinking negatively about yourself. You don't need anybody else to tell you anything about you for you to start bringing yourself down, bringing your confidence down. You know, we talk ourselves down a lot. Because once you go down the route of speaking yourself negatively or pushing yourself or pulling yourself down, then you're creating that reality. Then everybody around you becomes the mirror that is reflecting what you are saying. And then, because our perceptions are it's somebody else's fault, it's not me, we start to say, they said, he did, or they're saying, or she did this to me. But the reality is it started here. And then we created that and projected it out to the others. And they're just giving back to us what we have given out. Every day we are reaping the things that we have sown. I think in the other beliefs they say, karma, what you give out, you get back. So when you're giving out to the universe this negative self-talk about yourself, I'm so ugly, I'm so fat, nobody will love me, nobody cares about me, nobody supports me. What are you sowing outside? So if we're aware of the words that we are sending out, then we become aware of the things that we are bringing in. So if I want a good life, I'm going to clean out the dirt that is within me first. And then I create room for the things that I want. And I know society has taught us that, you know, we can speak positively into your life right now. I can start to say, I'm beautiful, I'm slim, and that, and things are just going to fall into alignment. But the truth is they don't. Because we have created so many negative patterns. We have programs that are running in our minds that are constantly talking and telling us and things that we programmed so many years ago, and we are living them every day. We're living our history. When I said we have to come back into this room, you have to be present in this room. The reason for that is because most of our time we spend it in the past. You could be sitting there, but you'd be right when you were 16 or 20 something or 40 something. You'll be right there, but yourself, your awareness is in the past. Repeating that program that was created. And then you walk out of here thinking, I just wasted my time. What was I doing there? But you would have had a great opportunity to be present, to start recreating something. So it takes a lot to clear out the mess that we have created. But in the process of clearing out the mess, we also have to bring in the new. Because we can't just clear out and leave it empty, because that pattern will come back. So when we clear out negative self-talk, what do we bring in? A new talk. So we have to deprogram that pattern, that repeated self-talk that we have, that unconscious pattern that is running in the background, before we can start saying, I'm great, I'm beautiful, I'm that. If I want to bring new furniture, I've got to take out the old first and bring in the new. But when it comes to our own personal work, we want to bring in the new before we created room for it. We are full of negative talk, but we are not willing to let go of it so we can bring in the positive talk. So when you're being self-aware, you become aware of what needs to go before you can bring something in. Some things that we are looking for need for us to expand the space that we are in, our mindset, our abilities, so the new can come in. Because if the new comes into the old self, it will cause us discomfort, because it might be too, like they say, you can't put new wine into an old wineskin, it will burst it. It can cause more problems, because there's now two things fighting for a place to survive. And then the second part of the tagline that I have is called challenging the norm. And I realized that if you want to challenge the norm, the way we are living now, the way we are creating now, the things we have now, you can't do it unless you have had self-mastery. Unless you have become greater than what you were before. You can't challenge the norm of an illness unless you have become a higher healed vibrational person. And when I'm talking about vibration is when we are in illness, we are vibrating from levels of fear and anxiety and worry and all kinds of lower emotions. It's very hard to come out of that place. And I was there once. There was no way I could have created healing from that place. But when I started to clear out all these negative energies and my vibrations were rising higher, and I reached a moment when I could love myself. And from that place of love, I could start creating healing for my body. Because now I was at a higher level. Albert Einstein said that you cannot solve a problem from the level that it was created. So if we create sickness from a place of fear, which means we have to rise higher to a place of love for us to heal that. But if we are not aware of that, we can't challenge illness in the supernatural way that we are able to do. But we can only move at the same level, hoping. We expect things from people that can't give us that. And then that hope is deferred and we lose ourselves in the place of losing the expected results that we had. Because the self-awareness gives you the gift of being able to become aware. Like, okay, this is what's going on. So I can either go along with it the same way I've done every day, or I can choose a different path. So if we're constantly on the negative habits, and then it becomes a bit more overpowering for us. And changing it will take a lot more than it does when it's just a simple thought that has come to the light. She's called me and that's nothing to do about me, that's what you think about yourself. So, that is very easy to deflect. But if it's something that has been constantly running as a program in my mind, it has created what is called a higher place. And it has also created a stronghold. So it's a software program that is running in the background. And you've got absolutely no control over it now. So you either go the same way that you've done it unless you've uninstalled that software or removed the hardware that is running it behind. And that takes a lot of skill. That's why you choose to be fine. And then when I hear myself talking this self-negative talk, I'm just like, okay, Martina, are you wanting to bring that pattern back? And that's when I stop. Because I don't want that pattern back. I've lived that life. I know the consequences of it. So I don't want it back. I want to live differently. If it means I have no confrontation with anybody, that's even better. I would love a confrontation. Now I'll tell you how I feel. I'll tell you what you're doing and how you're doing it, how it's making me feel. Well, it might not be anything to do with you. It might be that I have to deal with how I'm feeling because I'm creating these feelings. You're not. But your mirror is making me view myself as this. So maybe I actually don't even have to ask you to change. I need to change. That's how I view things now. If somebody is triggering me in any way, before I react, I have to go and I'm thinking, okay, what is in me that is reacting to this situation? Because I know obviously it's nothing to do with him because I'm creating these emotions and I'm thinking these thoughts. They're not coming from this person, but they're coming from me. So what do I need to change in me? So that's what the power of self-awareness has done for me. So because of that, I'm learning to create great relationships with the self. I think every foundation of who we are, our finances, our relationships, and everything that we acquire is built on the foundation of the relationship that we have with self. That's what I believe now. Because if I'm being good to me, there is no way anybody else can come in and be bad to me, because I'm not going to permit it, because I know what is good for me. I can stand and care from them for me. What I allow into my life is my business. If I allow someone to talk me down, that means I'm talking myself down too, and I totally agree with what they're saying. That's what's keeping me silent. But if I don't agree with what they're saying, then I'm going to open my mouth and say that. So that's the great relationship that we have with the self. And I totally understand that now, if you have that great relationship, then there is no hurt and there's no pain that we are storing here that will cause us to react when the situations are bad. We're living in a world where everybody is reacting. Children are reacting. The adults are reacting. The babies don't know what to do because they are looking up to us to see how they can learn from us, but what they are learning from us is that negative behavior. So what legacy are we living? How are we making a better world for them if we can't have a good relationship with the self? So this norm that is happening in the world, where people are killing each other, where people are starving, or other people are throwing food in the bin, this world that we have created, how can we challenge it if we don't have a relationship that is good with the self? Because at the end of it all, in the reality of the universal creations, we are all one. We are one with the universe, we are one with the trees, we are one with the air, we are one with the animals, we are one with the water, we are one with the land. Because if there was no land, where are we going to get the food from? If there was no water, how are we not going to die from thirst? If there was no air, then how are we going to breathe? If the trees didn't make oxygen, then who would give us oxygen? Who would take our carbon dioxide? But because we've taken all this for granted, because we don't have a great relationship with self, and we are not aware of how we are creating, then we are not aware of the impact we are making outside. We're not aware of the impact that we are doing to our communities, our societies, our land, our environment. So the work really, that is the personal work of self-awareness, is not just about me, it's not just about you. It's about us and our environment. It's way greater than we are. So if I can play my little part, you play your little part, you play your little part, pretty soon that ripple effect that we have created can help many other people. We can create that new culture that I was talking about. And Mahatma Gandhi said that, be the change that you want to see. So if I can be the change, I'm not waiting for someone else to be. So if I can start treating myself better, loving myself better, if I can start healing myself, then I'm creating that ripple effect. Because I'm in your presence. Pretty soon you feel what I have. And when you feel it, you want it. And you go out and you start doing it for yourself. And someone else is going to come into contact with you. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I like what you're doing. And they start going to do what you're doing. And that ripple effect goes way wider than we even think we would have reached. But it starts with me. It starts with you.
Hey, it's Martina. Just reminding you to subscribe to the channel. Click on the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload new videos.